r/AskReddit by Redical. Police officers of Reddit. What criminal actually impressed you with their criminal skills? One guy burned down a house to get rid of fingerprints. A childhood friend of mine tried to burn down a house to hide a murder, as if a raging fire wouldn't get the authorities there faster. Since you are writing, he didn't succeed, right? My wife is a trooper. She had a woman who hid a small pistol in her vagina. When she squatted during the strip search, the barrel peeked out. Edit. She also wanted to let you all know another incident where a brick of heroin was in a vagina, and yet another where a man was penetrating himself in his anus with his pistol and shot himself in the a-hole. That's just an edgy new form of birth control. Don't move, sperm. Show me your flagellum. Recently, during a community festival, some criminals waited until the fireworks then ran through the crowd, grabbing phones out of people's hands that were held up to the fireworks. I thought that was kind of clever. Wouldn't they have like a mob chasing them? Only at first, but soon they would be lost in a crowded stampede. If you were at a giant festival and a large amount of people started running a direction, you would too. Nowadays, people would think there is a wild gunman, and at some point, the thief chasers would hear this and think so too, not realizing they caused the confusion. Answering for my grandfather. He was a state trooper for like forever. There was a guy who was robbing stores and gas stations all over town at night without unlocking or disturbing the store. Noon could figure out how he was getting in and out. The city had a sewage canal that had manhole entrances in every building connected to it, so they could more easily clean out and unclog if there was an issue. He was coming in through the sewer, robbing the place, using the store's own mop to clean up his sewer footprints, and then leaving the same way he came in. The city has blocked off the old system as it was horribly designed even from a sewage perspective, and have gone with traditional plumbing. Now the old sewage tunnels leading to the canal are homeless camps, except the one under Main Street, which is a popular teen hangout location as it has the closest entrance to the high school and also has an exit like right next to the Pizza Hut like around the bend. Splinter? Geez, that's cool as duck. I'm impressed every single time I encounter someone who manages to smuggle things in border cavities. That's true dedication. I am gonna need you to put them wire up inside your butthole, Morty. It's really pointy. Oh yeah, that means it's a good one. Not a cop, but related to a few of them. They always say the smartest criminals are the ones who just reply to every question with "I don't know." It places a lot of things into a subjective and questionable realm versus getting a suspect to trip over their own story. Alright, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. Which is it gonna be? I don't know. Shit, this guy's good. r/mutter sunder breathe. Not a cop, but a similar profession. There's a person I know that can, without a fail, escape handcuffs every single time she is in them. That takes all the fun out of kinky sex. Just use rote lol. I was drinking a beer walking down the street once. Cop drives by me coming the other direction. Sees that I am drinking a beer. He pulls a U-turn in a parking lot behind me. Meanwhile, I tuck the beer into my armpit and whip out my phone. Cop pulls up beside me and says, "Oh, sorry, that's just your phone. I thought you were carrying a beer." I just drunkenly smiled and said something like, "Yup, just a phone." He drove off and I finished my beer. Ducking brilliance, mate. What you actually said was yup, beer a cop, but it's all a blur anyways. Verified on r/protect and serve. We had a guy steal goldfish from a pet store and sell them on the street corner. Granted, it was a fairly easy crime to solve, but I respect the creativity. What's the resale value on goldfish? Lol. Crime doesn't pay. Not a cop, but I am familiar with some incredible criminals that many haven't heard of. Albert Spaghieri. This guy's story is incredible. He masterminded a bank heist that involved tunneling into the vault through the sewer system, and they made off with millions. They painted the message "Son arm, ni hang, ni violence," without weapons, hate, or violence, on the vault wall. He was eventually arrested, but then quickly masterminded his escape. He was never recaptured and he died a free man years later from throat cancer. The money was never recovered. Steven Kruger, nicknamed the Mission Impossible burglar, this brilliant thief who was a mechanic by day targeted high-end computer equipment, entering through holes he cut in the ceiling, rappelling down, avoiding laser beams, etc. Basically total movie heist shit. If you want the full stories, I recommend the show Masterminds. You can find it on YouTube. Tons of brilliant criminals. One of the most interesting true crime shows I've ever seen. I remember this from a similar question a few months ago. A guy had been at a bar drinking rather excessively. He knew he was drunk but decided to drive home anyway. He had a sealed bottle of vodka in his car. So he's driving home and police lights go on behind him. The man pulls over to the side of the road. But before the cop has time to walk up to him, the man steps out of the car, chucks his keys off to the side of the road and clearly opens the new bottle of vodka and chugs it. All of this caught on the police car's dash cam. By chugging the vodka on camera, any sobriety test was immediately invalidated, and since he had tossed the keys away from him before opening the container, he couldn't be charged with operating a vehicle while inebriated. This was caught on camera and the man was interviewed for one of those police shows. You can probably find it on YouTube. The man goes on to say that he was charged for open container and maybe something else, but it was way better than another DUI. Edit. Thanks to you/Thebesneverest for the link. youtube.com link. Jumping out of the car at night on a cop at a traffic stop is an awful idea. In America maybe. I'm recounting a story told to me by an old police friend. In the 1970s I had to solve a nasty murder where a guy was beaten to death in a very methodical way. They had a hell of a time since there were no witnesses and there were no fingerprints. They looked into the victim's past when they were able to identify him and saw he was acquitted for killing a woman while driving drunk on a technicality. They decided to look at the family of the woman who was killed and found her husband was living in some dive hotel with medicine bottles all over. The husband tried to lie at first but admitted he was the one that killed the man. So they took him to the police station to get his confession. When they asked him why he did it, the husband admitted he was fighting cancer and his prognosis wasn't good. He resented the man that killed his wife and hated him even more since it was obvious he was guilty, but a screw up in processing his case led to a dismissal. His life collapsed after his wife died. He couldn't do anything that mattered any longer. After learning he was going to die, he decided that at least he gets to outlive the man who killed his wife. With his own pending death sentence, the husband figured there really wasn't anything they could do to him anyway. After he was arraigned, he had to go into a hospital on the government's dime where he slowly died from cancer over the next few months. The cop who told me the story said that the husband technically got away with murder. No trial, and the husband was in a better hospital than he could have afforded because he was dying from cancer. He admitted he was a little impressed with it. The husband used to be a successful businessman. But after his wife was killed he lost everything because he was too depressed to do anything but sulk, losing his job and living off of public aid and becoming an alcoholic and later developing cancer. The husband was already suffering and with his pending death had nothing to lose by taking revenge on the man that killed his wife. I can't blame him for doing what he did. Can't say I wouldn't do the same if I was in his position. I'm not a cop. My grandfather told me about how in high school his friend got away with stealing tons of car tires. He would put cinder blocks under the axles, then just let the air out of them. The police were baffled because they couldn't find any marks on the ground where a jack was used, and it was a pretty silent job. He didn't need them or sell them for money, just for a good time I guess. Eventually he was caught and they just made him return them since he wasn't selling them. So he retired? You tried. Have an upvote. I once had a guy try to explain a dope balloon up his butt by saying he ate bad Thai food. Is that impressive or just plain stupid? His stupidity was impressive. Not a cop, but I would probably say anyone who refused to speak to the authorities without a lawyer present. This guy working at a local donut shop had been taking all the unsold donuts at the end of the day to drop off at the community kitchen for the next morning's breakfast. Owners found out that, for at least a year, he'd been selling them on the street. He'd take them home in the donut shop van, reheat a 200F, and sell them outside the bars and his little illegal donut stand set up in the ghetto. He screwed up when he started bringing his crackhead friends with him to pick up the last donuts from each location. Owner started wondering why the hell they were coming in there every day, eating the food they were meant to take to homeless people. He was charged with felony theft. Spot on about reheating a 200F. Still as delectable as when they were just glazed. Nice try, criminals of Reddit. Nice try. The German extortionist Arno Funky, known as Dagobert, was a sensation. He was fooling police and very creative. End Wikipedia org link. Later he was an I am a celebrity. Get me out of here. None so far. Usually the ones who get caught do so because they weren't thinking clearly in the first place. Skilled criminals don't get caught. Source. Read this whole thread. I'm not proud, but it took me a few minutes to figure out what criminal skills are. I too am on mobile. Thanks for watching this Redical video. Subscribe for the best Reddit videos straight to your feed.